You post your wins on social media. You announce your plans to anyone who will listen. You celebrate every small victory as if the whole world needs to witness your progress. And deep down, you know something is wrong with this picture. Because while you are broadcasting your journey, your dreams are getting smaller. While you are seeking applause, your bank account stays the same. While you are performing success, real success is slipping through your fingers like sand. I am Solomon, and 3,000 years ago, I discovered something that most men today have forgotten. The wealthiest among us never announce their moves. The most powerful never reveal their strategies. The truly successful build their empires in complete silence, protected from the envy, interference, and energy drain that comes from living your life in public. You have been conditioned to believe that success without recognition is meaningless, but I am here to tell you the opposite. Success without recognition is the only success that lasts. Wealth built in silence is the only wealth that multiplies exponentially. Today, you will not learn tips or tricks. Today, you will undergo a complete identity transformation. You will stop being the man who needs validation for every step he takes, and you will become the man who moves mountains while others are still talking about moving pebbles. The 5 rules I am about to share with you are not motivational concepts. They are the exact principles I used to accumulate more wealth than any man in recorded history. They are the same principles used by every billionaire, every empire builder, every man who has ever achieved true financial freedom in this modern world. But understand this clearly. These rules demand that you abandon your need to be seen, your addiction to praise, your compulsion to announce every move you make. They require you to become comfortable with being underestimated, misunderstood, even ignored by those around you. This is your moment of choice. You can continue living as a performer on the stage of other people's opinions, or you can step into the shadows where real power is built. If you are ready for this transformation, if you are tired of playing small while pretending to be big, then subscribe to this channel right now. Because what I am about to reveal will change not just how you build wealth, but who you become in the process. Number 1. The spiritual value of discretion. You wake up every morning with dreams burning in your chest, and by evening, you have shared them with 17 different people. You post your goals on social media. You announce your plans at dinner parties. You tell your coworkers about your next big move. And then you wonder why your dreams feel smaller each day, why your motivation fades faster than morning mist, why what once felt inevitable now feels impossible. This is not coincidence. This is spiritual law. Discretion is not shyness. It is not fear. It is not insecurity masquerading as humility. Discretion is the understanding that some energies are too sacred, too powerful, too fragile in their early stages to be exposed to the harsh light of public scrutiny. When you understand this, you understand why every great fortune in history was built behind closed doors, away from the noise of the crowd, protected by the wisdom of silence. Think of a seed planted in rich soil. In its earliest stages, it is vulnerable, tender, requiring the darkness of earth to gather strength. If you dig it up every day to show others how it is growing, if you expose its delicate roots to the harsh sun before they are ready, the seed dies. Not because it was weak, but because it was exposed before its time. Your dreams are seeds. Your plans are tender shoots. Your wealth in its earliest stages is as fragile as new life itself. And like all new life, it must be protected, nurtured in silence, allowed to grow strong in the darkness before it can withstand the light of public attention. I learned this lesson not through books or teachings, but through observing the natural world that God placed before me. I watched how the mightiest trees grew slowly, silently, their roots spreading deep and wide beneath the earth where no one could see. I watched how the most precious gems formed in the deepest caves, far from human eyes, under pressure and in darkness, becoming invaluable precisely because they were hidden from the world until they were ready to be revealed. There was a merchant who came to my court, a man who had built trading routes across 3 continents. When I asked him the secret of his success, he told me this story. In his youth, he had discovered a new trade route that could make him wealthy beyond imagination. Excited by his discovery, he shared it with his friends, his family, his fellow merchants. Within months, a dozen other traders had taken the same route. The competition destroyed the very advantage that would have made him rich. Years later, he discovered another opportunity, even greater than the first. This time, he told no one. He worked in complete silence, building his network step by step, securing his position, establishing his dominance over the route before anyone even knew it existed. By the time others discovered what he had built, it was too late for them to compete. His silence had made him wealthy. His previous openness had made him ordinary. This is the spiritual truth that most men never learn. Your discretion is not just a strategy. It is a form of reverence. It is recognition that not all things are meant to be shared, that some truths are too powerful to be spoken carelessly, that the most sacred work happens away from applause and recognition. When you practice discretion, you are not hiding from the world. You are protecting what is most precious from forces that would diminish it. You are honoring the creative process by giving it the silence and space it needs to flourish. You are showing respect for the power you are building by refusing to scatter that power through careless words. The world will tell you that success must be visible to be real. The world will tell you that achievement without recognition is meaningless. The world will tell you that if nobody knows about your progress, then progress is not happening. The world is wrong. The most meaningful progress happens in silence. The most valuable wealth grows in darkness. The most powerful men move through the world unnoticed until the moment they choose to reveal themselves. And when they do reveal themselves, they do so not from desperation for attention, but from a position of unshakable strength. Your discretion becomes your shield. It protects you from the envy of small minds who would tear down what they cannot build. It protects you from the doubt of pessimists who would plant seeds of fear in fertile ground. It protects you from the interference of people who mean well, but understand nothing about the journey you are taking. More than protection, discretion becomes your source of power. When you stop feeding your energy to the opinions of others, that energy returns to you multiplied. When you stop seeking validation for every step, you start taking steps that actually matter. When you stop performing your life, you start living it with intention and focus that transforms everything you touch. This is why the wise throughout history have always been known for their silence more than their words. Not because they had nothing to say, but because they understood that words carelessly spoken lose their power. They understood that plans shared too early lose their potency. They understood that dreams exposed before their time wither like flowers picked too soon. Make no mistake, this path requires courage. It requires the strength to build without applause, to progress without recognition, to succeed without the immediate gratification of praise. It requires you to find validation within yourself rather than in the reactions of others. It requires you to measure your worth by your results, not by how many people know about those results. But this courage transforms you. When you stop needing the world to witness your journey, you stop being dependent on the world's permission to succeed. When you stop requiring external validation, you develop internal certainty that cannot be shaken by criticism or doubt. When you learn to work in silence, you discover a focus and intensity that loud people never access. Begin today by practicing sacred silence around your most important goals. Stop announcing your intentions and start demonstrating your results. Stop sharing your plans and start executing them. Stop seeking permission from others and start giving yourself the permission to build something extraordinary in the privacy of your own determination. The path of discretion is not the path of the timid. It is the path of the truly powerful, those who understand that real strength needs no audience, that genuine wealth requires no fanfare, and that lasting success is built in the quiet moments when nobody else is watching. Number 2, why exposure delays prosperity. Every morning, you feel the urge to share your breakthrough, the urge to announce your progress, the urge to let everyone know that you are finally on the right track. And every time you give in to this urge, you unknowingly sabotage the very success you are trying to build. You have been trained to believe that sharing your journey creates accountability, builds community, generates support. But I have watched kingdoms rise and fall, fortunes made and lost, and I can tell you with absolute certainty that exposure is the enemy of prosperity in its early stages. When you expose your plans before they are established, when you share your dreams before they are secured, when you announce your intentions before you have the power to protect them, you invite forces into your life that will systematically destroy what you are trying to create. Picture a flame trying to grow in the wind. The more wind that hits it, the more it flickers and threatens to die. Only when that flame becomes a roaring fire can it withstand the winds without being extinguished. Your prosperity is that flame. Exposure is the wind. And most men spend their entire lives trying to build wealth in a hurricane of their own making. The first force that exposure invites is envy. You may think that people want to see you succeed, but observe their faces when you share your victories, their voices when you speak of your progress, their energy when you describe your plans. Most people have resigned themselves to mediocrity, and your movement towards something greater becomes a mirror that reflects their own stagnation back at them. This envy does not always manifest as obvious hostility. Sometimes it comes disguised as concern. They will tell you your goals are unrealistic. They will remind you of all the people who have tried and failed. They will point out every potential obstacle, every reason why your plan might not work. They believe they are protecting you, but they are actually projecting their own fears onto your dreams. Other times, envy manifests as subtle sabotage. People will create distractions just when you are gaining momentum. They will bring you problems that suddenly require your immediate attention. They will invite you to activities that pull you away from your focus. They will offer opportunities that seem beneficial but actually scatter your energy across multiple directions. There was a young builder in Jerusalem who discovered a new construction technique that could revolutionize how homes were built. Excited by his discovery, he demonstrated it to every craftsman in the city, explaining exactly how it worked and why it was superior to traditional methods. Within a year, dozens of builders were using his technique, but none of them were hiring him to implement it. His openness had given away his competitive advantage before he could establish his position in the market. Years later, he developed an even better technique. This time, he said nothing. He used it quietly on project after project, building a reputation for exceptional work without revealing his methods. Clients began seeking him out specifically, paying premium prices for results they could not get elsewhere. His silence had made him wealthy. His previous transparency had made him replaceable. But envy is only the first destructive force that exposure invites. The second is interference. When you share your plans, you invite opinion. When you invite opinion, you invite doubt. When you invite doubt, you invite delay. Every person you tell about your goals will have suggestions. They will want to help you improve your plan. They will point out things you have not considered. They will offer connections, resources, alternative approaches. And while some of this might be genuinely helpful, most of it will be distraction disguised as assistance. Your plan does not need to be perfect before you begin. It needs to be in motion. But when you expose your imperfect plan to the scrutiny of others, you will spend more time defending and explaining and modifying your approach than you will spend actually executing it. You will become trapped in an endless loop of preparation, optimization, and revision that prevents you from ever taking real action. The third force that exposure invites is premature celebration. When you share your progress, people congratulate you. When people congratulate you, your brain experiences the satisfaction of success without having actually achieved it. This false satisfaction reduces your motivation to continue working toward your actual goals. Scientists have studied this phenomenon extensively. They have found that when people announce their intentions publicly, they are less likely to follow through on those intentions because the announcement itself provides some of the emotional reward that the actual achievement would have provided. You literally trick yourself into feeling successful before you have earned success, and this feeling reduces your hunger to continue pursuing the real thing. The fourth destructive force is energy drain. Every time you explain your plan to someone, you use mental and emotional energy that could be invested in executing that plan. Every time you justify your decisions to someone who does not understand your vision, you waste precious focus that should be directed toward building your vision into reality. Your energy is finite. Your attention is limited. Your willpower is a resource that depletes with use. When you spend these precious resources on explaining, defending, and promoting your plans, you have less of these resources available for the actual work of implementing your plans. Consider the difference between two men starting businesses. The first man talks about his business idea with everyone he meets. He pitches investors, discusses strategies with friends, posts about his progress on social media, attends networking events to share his vision. He spends 60% of his time talking about his business and 40% of his time actually building it. The second man shares his plans with no one except the few people whose help he absolutely needs to execute those plans. He spends 5% of his time communicating about his business and 95% of his time actually building it. Which man do you think will succeed? This is not theory. This is mathematics. Success is the result of accumulated focused effort over time. Every moment you spend broadcasting your journey is a moment not spent advancing your journey. Every unit of energy you invest in external validation is a unit of energy stolen from internal creation. The most successful people I have known throughout my reign understood this principle instinctively. They worked in silence until they had something undeniable to show. They built in private until their results spoke louder than any announcement could. They protected their early efforts from the corrosive effects of premature exposure. This does not mean you must work in complete isolation forever. It means you must protect your plans until they are strong enough to survive exposure. It means you must build your position until it is secure enough to withstand attack. It means you must establish your results until they are impressive enough to command respect, rather than invite skepticism. The timing of revelation is everything. Speak too early and you invite destruction. Remain silent too long after achieving strength, and you miss opportunities to leverage your success. The wise man learns to recognize when his work has moved from vulnerable to valuable, from fragile to formidable, from experiment to established advantage. Until that moment comes, guard your plans like you would guard your most precious treasure, because that is exactly what they are. And like all precious things, they require protection from those who would diminish their value through careless handling or envious interference. Your silence is not weakness, it is strategy. Your discretion is not fear, it is wisdom. Your refusal to expose your work prematurely is not antisocial behavior. It is the mark of someone who understands the true nature of success and is committed to creating it regardless of who gets to witness the journey. Number 3, the first rule: speak less than you achieve. You achieve one small victory and immediately feel the compulsion to share it with the world. You make your first profitable trade and post about it on social media. You get promoted and call everyone you know. You lose 10 pounds and announce it to your entire social circle. And in that moment of announcement, you unknowingly rob yourself of the momentum that victory was meant to provide. This is the trap that destroys more dreams than failure ever could. because failure at least teaches you what not to do. But premature celebration teaches you to find satisfaction in acknowledgement rather than in achievement itself, and this lesson will keep you poor and weak for the rest of your life. The first rule of building lasting wealth is to speak less than you achieve, always less, not equal to what you achieve, not proportional to what you achieve, less, significantly less. Because your words have power, and when you spend that power on applause, you have no power left for building. Every word you speak about your success is energy that could have been invested in creating more success. Every moment you spend explaining your progress is a moment stolen from the work that generates real progress. Every celebration you indulge in before your victory is complete is a celebration that weakens your drive to actually complete that victory. Imagine a river that splits into 100 different streams. Each stream becomes weaker than the original river because the water that could have carved a deep channel is now scattered across the landscape, creating shallow rivulets that dry up in the first drought. Your energy is that river. Every person you tell about your achievements creates another stream, another direction for your power to flow, until what was once a mighty force becomes a collection of weak trickles. This is why poor people are often the loudest about their small victories, while wealthy people are notoriously private about their massive achievements. The poor have learned to derive satisfaction from recognition because they have never learned to derive satisfaction from results themselves. The wealthy have learned that real satisfaction comes not from having others know about your success, but from having so much success that others' opinions become irrelevant. I remember a young merchant who came to my court, bragging about a profitable deal he had negotiated. He explained every detail of the transaction, how he had outsmarted his competitors, how much profit he had earned, how this deal would be the beginning of his fortune. He spoke for an hour about this single transaction, his chest swelling with pride at each compliment from the listeners. 3 years later, he returned to my court, but this time he came not as a visitor, but as a petitioner seeking help because his trading business had failed. He had never learned to build upon his early success because he had spent all his energy celebrating it rather than replicating it. His need for recognition had consumed the very drive that had created something worth recognizing. In the same period, there was another merchant who occasionally appeared at court, but never spoke of his business unless directly asked, and even then, his answers were brief and modest. While the first merchant was explaining his single successful deal, this second merchant was quietly completing dozens of similar deals. While the first was basking in admiration, the second was building systems, establishing relationships, and creating a trading empire. Years later, when the first merchant was seeking help, the second merchant had become one of the wealthiest men in Israel. And still, he spoke little of his achievements. His results spoke for him, and they spoke much louder than words ever could. This is the difference between those who achieve momentary success and those who build lasting prosperity. The achievers of momentary success treat each victory as an end point worthy of celebration. The builders of lasting prosperity treat each victory as a beginning point worthy of development. When you speak less than you achieve, several powerful transformations occur in your life. First, you redirect your need for satisfaction away from external validation and toward internal accomplishment. Instead of feeling successful because people tell you that you are successful, you feel successful because you are producing results that create genuine success. This shift is crucial because external validation is temporary and addictive, while internal satisfaction is sustainable and empowering. When your sense of achievement depends on others recognizing your achievements, you become a slave to their attention and approval. When your sense of achievement depends on your own results, you become the master of your own destiny. Second, when you speak less than you achieve, you maintain what I call forward pressure. This is the psychological and emotional momentum that pushes you toward your next goal rather than allowing you to rest on your previous accomplishment. Most people lose this forward pressure the moment they start talking about what they have done instead of focusing on what they are going to do next. Think of a bicycle. It stays upright and moves forward only as long as it maintains momentum. The moment it stops moving, it falls over. Your success is similar. It maintains its power only as long as you maintain forward momentum. And that momentum is strongest when your energy is focused on creating the next achievement, rather than explaining the last one. Third, speaking less than you achieve creates mystery and respect, rather than familiarity and dismissal. When people know everything about your victories, they begin to take those victories for granted. They lose their sense of your exceptional capability, because you have made your capabilities seem ordinary through constant discussion. But when people see your results without hearing the detailed explanations of how you achieved those results, they develop respect for your competence and curiosity about your methods. This respect and curiosity are valuable assets that can be leveraged for future opportunities, partnerships, and advantages. The practical implementation of this rule requires discipline that most people never develop. It requires you to resist the immediate gratification of praise in favor of the long-term satisfaction of sustained success. It requires you to find your source of motivation within yourself, rather than in the reactions of others. Start by establishing a simple ratio. For every achievement you experience, allow yourself to speak about it to one person at most, not multiple people, not social media. One person who genuinely needs to know about your progress for practical reasons. This might be a business partner, a spouse, or a mentor, but not friends seeking entertainment, not acquaintances making small talk, and certainly not strangers on the internet seeking content. Better yet, establish a waiting period. Before you speak about any achievement, wait at least 1 week. Often, you will discover that by the time the week has passed, you are more interested in working on your next goal than talking about your previous one. The achievement that felt so urgent to share will seem less important than the work you could be doing instead of talking. Most importantly, redirect your celebration energy into creation energy. Instead of spending time telling people what you have done, spend that time doing more. Instead of basking in admiration for past results, focus on generating future results. Instead of looking backward at your victories, look forward at your possibilities. This approach will feel unnatural at first because you have been conditioned to seek applause for every effort. But as you practice speaking less than you achieve, you will discover something extraordinary. You will find that your achievements become more frequent, more substantial, and more satisfying when they are not diluted by premature discussion. Your silence becomes a source of power that compounds over time. Each victory that you keep to yourself adds to a reservoir of confidence and momentum that fuels your next victory. Each success that you protect from exposure becomes the foundation for a greater success. The world is full of people who speak more than they achieve. Be different. Be someone whose results outweigh their words, whose accomplishments overshadow their announcements, whose success speaks so loudly that their voice does not need to be heard above a whisper. Number 4, the second rule, work in secrecy. Every morning, you wake up and immediately tell the world what you are going to accomplish that day. You share your workout plans, your business meetings, your project deadlines, your personal goals. You document every step of your journey, photograph every milestone, broadcast every struggle and triumph. And at the end of each day, you collapse into bed exhausted not from the work you have done, but from the performance you have given about the work you are doing. This is the modern curse, the need to turn every private effort into public entertainment, the compulsion to transform every meaningful moment into shareable content, the inability to do anything significant without an audience to witness and validate your significance. But significance is not created by being seen. Significance is created by what you accomplish when nobody is watching, when nobody is cheering, when nobody even knows that you are working. Real power is built in solitude, away from the noise of opinion and the distraction of applause. Working in secrecy is not about shame or fear or hiding from responsibility. It is about protecting the sacred space where creation happens, where focus can reach its maximum intensity, where your energy can be completely directed toward results instead of partially diverted toward explanation and justification. Think of a master craftsman working alone in his workshop. No cameras recording his process, no audience evaluating his technique, no social media followers waiting for updates on his progress. Just him, his tools, his materials, and his vision. In this environment of complete privacy, he can make mistakes without embarrassment, experiment without judgment, and pursue excellence without the pressure of premature evaluation. This is the environment where breakthroughs happen. This is the space where innovation occurs. This is the laboratory where ordinary people transform themselves into extraordinary achievers. And this laboratory can only exist in secrecy, protected from the interference of outside observation. When you work in public, you are constantly managing two different tasks: the actual work itself and the performance of doing that work. Part of your attention is focused on your real objectives, and part of your attention is focused on how your pursuit of those objectives appears to others. This divided attention reduces your effectiveness in both areas. You do worse work, and you give a worse performance. But when you work in secrecy, all of your attention can be focused on a single purpose: achieving the result you want to achieve. No energy is wasted on impression management. No mental resources are diverted to audience considerations. No emotional bandwidth is consumed by the need to appear competent or motivated or dedicated. Everything you have can be invested in actually being competent and motivated and dedicated. I learned this principle by observing the construction of my temple. The most skilled workers always arrived early and stayed late, working during hours when the site was empty of supervisors, officials, and curious onlookers. During these quiet periods, their productivity was extraordinary. They could focus completely on their craft, experiment with new techniques, and push themselves to levels of excellence that would have been impossible under public scrutiny. During the busy hours, when many people were present and watching, these same workers became noticeably less efficient. They moved more carefully, worked more conservatively, spent time explaining their methods to observers. The quality of their work remained high, but the quantity and innovation decreased significantly. The presence of an audience had transformed them from creators into performers, and performers are never as effective as creators. There was a scribe in my court who was known for his beautiful calligraphy and insightful commentary on legal matters. But he struggled to produce his best work during official proceedings when many people were present and judging every word he wrote. His most brilliant insights and most elegant writing came from the scrolls he produced alone in his chamber, late at night, with no one to impress except himself. Recognizing this, I began giving him the most important documents to prepare during these private hours. The results were remarkable. His work became more thoughtful, more creative, more precise. The pressure of performance had been limiting his actual performance, and removing that pressure had unlocked his true capabilities. This is the paradox that most people never understand. Working in secrecy does not diminish your work, it amplifies it. Privacy does not reduce your impact, it increases it. Silence does not make you less significant. It makes you more powerful. When you work in secrecy, you also protect yourself from what I call premature optimization. This is the tendency to refine and perfect your approach based on early feedback, before you have had sufficient time to test and develop that approach through actual experience. Imagine a painter who shows his canvas to critics after each brushstroke. The critics, despite their good intentions, would influence his creative process based on incomplete information. They would push him to make changes before he had the chance to see where his original vision would lead. The final painting would become a committee creation rather than an artistic expression, and committee creations are always inferior to the work of a focused individual with a clear vision. Your projects, your businesses, your personal transformation efforts are similar. They need time to develop organically, to evolve through trial and error, to find their natural form through your direct experience rather than through the opinions of observers who are not doing the actual work. Working in secrecy gives you this precious development time. It allows your ideas to mature, your skills to strengthen, your strategies to prove themselves before they are subjected to outside evaluation. It lets you fail and learn and improve without the additional pressure of managing other people's reactions to your failures. But perhaps most importantly, working in secrecy develops your intrinsic motivation. When no one is watching, you discover whether you truly want to achieve your goals or whether you merely want to appear to be pursuing your goals. Many people are shocked to discover that when the audience disappears, so does their drive. This discovery, painful as it may be, is valuable because it reveals that their motivation was external rather than internal. External motivation is unreliable because it depends on factors beyond your control. Other people's attention, approval, and encouragement can be withdrawn at any time for any reason. But internal motivation is sustainable because it comes from your own values, desires, and commitment to excellence. When you develop the habit of working in secrecy, you strengthen your internal motivation like a muscle. Each private effort, each hidden hour of work, each result achieved without recognition builds your capacity to function independently of external validation. You become a self-generating source of drive and determination. The practical application of this rule requires you to identify your most important work and create protected time and space for that work to happen in private. This might mean waking up earlier to work before the world wakes up. It might mean finding a quiet place where you can focus without interruption. It might mean turning off your devices and disconnecting from all communication while you work. Establish clear boundaries between your private work time and your public social time. During private work time, no documentation, no updates, no sharing. During this time, your only relationship is with the work itself. You are not working to create content about working. You are working to create actual results. Keep a private record of your progress, but do not share this record with anyone else. This record is for your own awareness and motivation, not for external recognition. Track your actual advancement, not your public appearance of advancement. Measure your real results, not your social media engagement about those results. Most importantly, become comfortable with the feeling of working without applause. This feeling will be uncomfortable at first because you have been conditioned to expect recognition for effort. But as you persist in private work, you will discover something extraordinary. The satisfaction that comes from real achievement is far greater than the satisfaction that comes from recognition of achievement. Your secret work becomes a source of quiet confidence that no criticism can shake and no praise can inflate. You know what you have accomplished because you did the work yourself. You know what you are capable of because you have tested your capabilities in private. You know your true worth because you have created real value, not just the appearance of value. In a world obsessed with documentation and display, your commitment to private excellence becomes a competitive advantage. While others are performing their efforts, you are maximizing your results. While others are managing their image, you are building your capabilities. While others are seeking recognition, you are creating something worthy of recognition. Work in secrecy not because you are ashamed of what you are doing, but because you respect it too much to reduce it to entertainment for others. Guard your creative process not from fear, but from wisdom. Protect your most important efforts not because they are weak, but because they are too valuable to be exposed to the casual opinions of people who are not invested in their success. Number 5, the third rule: control your emotions. You receive criticism and your entire day is ruined. Someone questions your judgment and you spend hours defending your position. You achieve a small victory and you become overconfident, taking risks that wipe out your progress. A setback occurs and you spiral into doubt, abandoning strategies that were working simply because they encountered temporary resistance. Your emotions are ruling your decisions, and your decisions are determining your destiny. This is why most people live lives of quiet desperation, bouncing between extremes of hope and fear, never building the steady, consistent progress that creates lasting wealth and success. Emotional reactions are luxury items that poor people cannot afford and wealthy people refuse to indulge. Every emotional outburst, every reactive decision, every moment when your feelings override your judgment is a moment when you choose temporary satisfaction over permanent prosperity. The third rule of multiplying wealth in silence is to control your emotions completely, not suppress them, not ignore them, control them. This means acknowledging what you feel while refusing to let those feelings dictate what you do. It means maintaining calm rationality, even when everything around you is chaotic and uncertain. Controlling your emotions is not about becoming cold or heartless. It is about becoming strategic and powerful. It is about ensuring that your responses are chosen rather than automatic, that your actions are calculated rather than impulsive, that your energy is directed toward solutions rather than reactions. Think of a ship navigating through a storm. The storm creates massive waves that could capsize the vessel if the captain panics and makes erratic movements with the rudder. But if the captain remains calm, reads the patterns in the waves, and makes steady adjustments based on experience and knowledge rather than fear, the ship not only survives the storm, but emerges stronger and more capable. Your emotions are the storm. Your life and wealth are the ship. Your rational mind is the captain. And most people allow the storm to take control of the captain, which is why their ships get destroyed by weather that skilled navigators handle routinely. Every wealthy person I have ever known has mastered this fundamental skill. They have learned to feel their emotions fully while preventing those emotions from controlling their decisions. They experience anger without acting from anger. They feel fear without being paralyzed by fear. They enjoy success without being intoxicated by success. This emotional control becomes their greatest competitive advantage because most people are completely at the mercy of their feelings. When others are making decisions based on temporary emotional states, the emotionally controlled person is making decisions based on permanent strategic objectives. When others are reactive, they are proactive. When others are scattered, they remain focused. There was a general in my army who exemplified this principle perfectly. During battles, he would remain completely calm while chaos erupted around him. His soldiers initially mistook his calmness for lack of concern, but they quickly learned that his emotional control was actually the source of his tactical superiority. While enemy commanders would make hasty decisions based on fear or overconfidence, this general would observe the battlefield clearly and make calculated moves based on what would actually achieve victory. His emotional control allowed him to see opportunities that emotional commanders missed and to avoid traps that emotional commanders fell into repeatedly. His success was not due to superior strategy or greater courage. It was due to superior emotional regulation that allowed his intelligence and experience to operate at full capacity even under extreme pressure. The same intelligence and experience that other commanders possessed became useless when clouded by emotional reactions. The first step in developing this control is recognizing that your initial emotional response to any situation is usually wrong or at least incomplete. Your emotions are designed to help you survive immediate physical threats, not to help you build long-term wealth and success. They push you toward fight or flight responses, when what you need are think and plan responses. When someone criticizes your work, your emotional response is to defend yourself or attack them in return. But the strategically intelligent response is to evaluate whether their criticism contains useful information that could improve your work, regardless of how that criticism was delivered or what motivated it. When you experience a setback, your emotional response is to quit or to double down recklessly. But the strategically intelligent response is to analyze what caused the setback and adjust your approach based on that analysis, maintaining steady progress toward your objectives. When you achieve success, your emotional response is either to celebrate excessively or to become overconfident. But the strategically intelligent response is to study what created that success, so you can replicate it while remaining aware that success requires continued effort to maintain. Developing emotional control requires daily practice, especially during low-stakes situations. Most people think they will somehow develop emotional control during high-pressure moments, but emotional control is a skill that must be built gradually through consistent application in ordinary circumstances. Start by creating a buffer between your emotional reactions and your external responses. When you feel a strong emotion arising, practice taking 3 slow breaths before speaking or acting. This simple pause allows your rational mind to evaluate the situation and choose a response, rather than letting your emotional mind generate an automatic reaction. During these pause moments, ask yourself 3 questions. First, what would the strategically intelligent response be in this situation? Second, how will I feel about this response tomorrow, next week, next year? Third, does this emotional reaction serve my long-term objectives, or does it satisfy my short-term impulses? Most of the time, you will discover that the strategically intelligent response is different from the emotionally driven response. And most of the time, choosing the intelligent response over the emotional response will advance your position, while choosing the emotional response would have damaged it. The second level of emotional control involves learning to use your emotions as information rather than instruction. Your emotions are telling you something about your situation, but they are not necessarily telling you what to do about that situation. Fear might be telling you that you are approaching something important and challenging, but fear is not telling you to avoid that thing. It is telling you to prepare more carefully and proceed more strategically. Anger might be telling you that someone has acted against your interests or violated your boundaries. But anger is not telling you to lash out at that person. It is telling you to address the boundary violation in a way that prevents future violations. Excitement might be telling you that you have identified a significant opportunity. But excitement is not telling you to pursue that opportunity recklessly. It is telling you to evaluate the opportunity thoroughly and pursue it systematically if it proves worthwhile. The highest level of emotional control is what I call emotional aikido. This is the ability to redirect emotional energy rather than fighting against it or being overwhelmed by it. Instead of trying to eliminate your emotions, you learn to channel their power toward your objectives. When someone tries to provoke you, instead of reacting with matching aggression or defensive withdrawal, you redirect that energy toward understanding their motivations and finding ways to turn the situation to your advantage. Their attempt to disturb your peace becomes an opportunity to practice your emotional mastery and possibly to gain insight that serves your purposes. When you face a setback, instead of being crushed by disappointment or motivated by desperation, you redirect that emotional energy towards systematic problem solving and strategic adjustment. The pain of the setback becomes fuel for the work of creating better results. This level of emotional control transforms you into what I call an emotional alchemist. You take the base metals of ordinary human reactions and transform them into the gold of strategic advantage. Every situation that would derail less controlled people becomes raw material for your advancement. Practice this control especially during moments when control feels most difficult to maintain. The situations where you most want to react emotionally are precisely the situations where emotional control provides the greatest advantage. Your ability to remain calm and strategic when others are losing their composure becomes a superpower that consistently produces superior results. Remember that emotional control is not just about managing negative emotions. It is equally important to control positive emotions that might lead to overconfidence, carelessness, or premature celebration. The person who can remain level-headed during success is just as rare and valuable as the person who can remain calm during crisis. Your emotions will always be with you. They are part of your human experience, but they do not have to control your human decisions. When you master your emotions, you master your responses. When you master your responses, you master your results. And when you master your results, you master your destiny. Number 6, the fourth rule: be selective with whom you share. You believe that sharing your dreams creates accountability and support, so you tell everyone about your plans. Your family, your friends, your coworkers, your acquaintances, even strangers you meet at social events. You convince yourself that this openness builds community and generates encouragement. But what you are actually doing is scattering your most precious resources among people who have no investment in your success and no understanding of your vision. Not everyone wants to see you succeed. This is a truth that will hurt you to accept, but accepting it will save you years of wasted energy and sabotaged progress. Many people, including people who claim to care about you, are emotionally invested in you remaining exactly where you are because your advancement would force them to confront their own stagnation. The fourth rule of building wealth in silence is to be extremely selective about whom you allow into the inner circle of your plans and progress. Most people should know nothing about your significant efforts. Some people should know that you are working on something, but not what or how. Very few people should know the specific details of your strategies and goals. This selectivity is not antisocial behavior. It is strategic protection of your most valuable assets, your focus, your energy, and your sense of possibility. Each person you share with becomes a stakeholder in your emotional state, even if they have no stake in your actual results. Their opinions, reactions, and energy will influence your motivation and decision-making whether you realize it or not. Think of your inner circle as a boardroom for your life. You would not invite random people off the street to participate in important business decisions. You would not allow people with no relevant experience to vote on strategic matters. You would not give equal voice to people whose success and failure mean nothing to them personally. Yet this is exactly what you do when you share your personal plans indiscriminately. Your dreams and goals deserve the same protection that any valuable business plan would receive. They deserve to be discussed only with people who have earned the right to influence them through their own demonstrated wisdom, relevant experience, and genuine investment in your success. I learned this lesson through observing the dynamics of my own court. When important decisions needed to be made about military strategy, economic policy, or diplomatic relations, I noticed that the quality of those decisions was inversely related to the number of people involved in making them. Small groups of carefully selected advisors, people chosen specifically for their expertise and their alignment with the kingdom's interests, would produce brilliant strategies efficiently. But when these same decisions were open to broader discussion, including well-meaning but uninformed courtiers, the quality deteriorated rapidly. Too many perspectives, too many concerns, too many people trying to protect their own interests disguised as protecting the kingdom's interests. There was one particular military campaign where I made the mistake of discussing strategy with too many people. Every general wanted to share their opinion. Every advisor had concerns to raise. Every courtier had heard stories about similar campaigns and wanted to contribute their interpretation of those stories. By the time everyone had been consulted, the original strategy had been modified, complicated, and diluted to the point where it satisfied everyone's concerns, but served no one's objectives effectively. The campaign succeeded, but barely, and only because the enemy was even more disorganized than we were. Later, facing a similar military challenge, I consulted only with 3 people: my most experienced general, my most trusted intelligence advisor, and my most capable logistical coordinator. These 3 people had proven their competence through results, demonstrated their loyalty through years of service, and possessed specific expertise relevant to the challenge we faced. The strategy we developed was clean, focused, and devastatingly effective. The campaign concluded in half the time with twice the success of the previous one. The difference was not in the complexity of the strategy, but in the purity of its development, protected from the interference of irrelevant opinions. Your personal success requires the same strategic selectivity. The people you allow to influence your plans should meet strict criteria. They should have achieved something similar to what you are trying to achieve, demonstrating that their advice comes from experience rather than theory. They should have a genuine investment in your success, meaning your victory benefits them in some concrete way, or they simply care about you enough to want you to succeed regardless of personal benefit. Most importantly, they should have demonstrated wisdom and discretion in their own lives. People who cannot keep secrets about their own affairs cannot be trusted with secrets about your affairs. People who make impulsive decisions about their own goals will encourage you to make impulsive decisions about your goals. People who quit when things become difficult will subtly encourage you to quit when your things become difficult. The vast majority of people in your life should be completely excluded from your inner planning circle. This includes family members who love you but do not understand your vision, friends who support you but lack relevant experience, and colleagues who are friendly but potentially competitive with your interests. These people can remain important parts of your life without being consulted about your most significant plans. You can maintain warm relationships with them without sharing information that could compromise your strategic position. You can care about them and enjoy their company without making them advisors to your most important decisions. Create different levels of information sharing based on trust, relevance, and value. The outermost circle knows only that you are generally focused on improving your life, but they know no specifics. The middle circle knows that you are working on specific areas of improvement, but they do not know your detailed strategies or timelines. The inner circle, consisting of perhaps 1 to 3 people, knows your actual plans and provides input that influences your decisions. Even within your inner circle, information should be shared strategically. The person helping you with business strategy does not need to know about your personal relationship goals. The person advising you on health and fitness does not need to know about your investment portfolio. Compartmentalization protects you from having any single person develop too much influence over your overall life direction. Be especially careful about sharing your plans with people who are struggling in areas where you are trying to succeed. A person who has never built a successful business should not be advising you about business strategy, regardless of how intelligent or well-intentioned they are. A person who has never maintained a healthy long-term relationship should not be influencing your relationship decisions. A person who has never achieved financial independence should not be consulted about your wealth-building plans. This rule applies even to professionals like therapists, coaches, and consultants. Their credentials and training are less important than their actual results in their own lives and their demonstrated ability to help others achieve similar results. Someone with an advanced degree in psychology who cannot manage their own emotional life is not qualified to help you manage yours. Someone with a business certification who has never built a profitable business is not qualified to advise you about building yours. The most dangerous people to share with are those who seem supportive but consistently introduce doubt, complexity, or delay into your thinking. They will not openly discourage you because they want to maintain their relationship with you, but they will subtly undermine your confidence and momentum through their questions, concerns, and suggestions. These people often disguise their interference as protection or wisdom. They will say they are just making sure you have considered all the angles. They will claim they are helping you avoid potential problems. They will position themselves as the voice of reason, protecting you from your own impulsiveness. But their effect is always the same. They slow your progress and weaken your resolve. Learn to recognize this pattern and exclude these people from your planning process immediately. Your time and energy are too valuable to waste on people who create more obstacles than they remove, regardless of their conscious intentions. Instead, cultivate relationships with people who make you feel more capable, more focused, and more confident about your ability to achieve your goals. Seek out individuals who have accomplished what you want to accomplish and who are generous with sharing the mindset and strategies that created their success. These relationships are rare and valuable. Protect them by being selective about your own contributions. Do not waste these people's time with complaints, excuses, or requests for emotional support. Come to them prepared, with specific questions, clear objectives, and evidence of your own serious commitment to implementing their guidance. Your selectivity about whom you share with becomes a form of respect for your own goals and dreams. It demonstrates that you value your vision enough to protect it from casual discussion and random opinion. It shows that you understand the difference between entertainment and strategy, between social conversation and serious consultation. When you become truly selective about sharing your plans, you will discover that your progress accelerates dramatically. Without the constant drain of explaining, justifying, and defending your choices to people who are not qualified to evaluate them, your energy returns to where it belongs, creating the results that will make all explanations unnecessary. Number 7, the fifth rule: prosperity that doesn't shine. Every day, you see people displaying their wealth like peacocks displaying their feathers. They wear expensive clothes to prove their success, drive luxury cars to announce their prosperity, post photos of expensive meals to demonstrate their lifestyle. They have confused wealth with spectacle, prosperity with performance, and success with the need to make everyone else witness that success. This is not wealth. This is insecurity disguised as confidence. This is the behavior of people who have never learned the difference between having money and being wealthy, between temporary financial gains and lasting prosperity, between the appearance of success and the reality of financial freedom. The fifth and most important rule of building wealth in silence is to live your prosperity in a way that doesn't shine, doesn't announce itself, doesn't demand recognition or admiration from others. True wealth is quiet, confident, and completely unconcerned with external validation, because it generates its own internal satisfaction. When you understand this principle deeply, you realize that the urge to display your wealth is actually evidence that you do not yet possess real wealth. People who are truly financially free do not need to prove their financial freedom to anyone. People who have genuine prosperity do not require others to acknowledge their prosperity in order to feel prosperous. The display of wealth serves only two purposes, and both of them work against your interests. First, it provides temporary emotional satisfaction that replaces the drive to continue building actual wealth. When you get applause for appearing successful, your brain experiences some of the reward that should only come from being successful, and this false reward reduces your motivation to continue the difficult work of building real success. Second, displaying wealth attracts the attention of people who want to separate you from that wealth. This includes obvious threats like thieves and con artists, but it also includes subtler threats like friends who suddenly expect you to pay for everything, family members who develop financial emergencies that require your help, and business associates who assume you can afford to accept worse deals because you clearly have money to spare. Consider the fundamental mathematics of wealth display. Every dollar you spend on showing others that you have money is a dollar that could have been invested in actually having more money. Every expensive status symbol is an asset that depreciates while producing no income. Every lifestyle inflation designed to impress others is a drain on the resources that could be creating permanent financial security. The wealthy understand that their money is not decoration. It is a tool, and tools are most effective when they are used for their intended purpose rather than for display. A master carpenter does not buy the most expensive hammer because it looks impressive. He buys the hammer that drives nails most effectively. Similarly, a master of wealth does not buy expensive items to impress others. He directs his resources toward investments that create more resources. I learned this lesson by observing the merchants who traded in my kingdom. The most successful merchants lived modestly, dressed simply, and operated without fanfare. They reinvested their profits immediately into expanding their operations, securing better trade routes, and building larger inventories. Their wealth grew exponentially because they treated every coin as a seed to plant rather than a trophy to display. In contrast, the moderately successful merchants spent heavily on appearances. They wore fine clothes, lived in elaborate homes, and threw expensive parties to show their prosperity. But their wealth grew slowly, if at all, because they were consuming their profits rather than multiplying them. They looked wealthier than the truly wealthy merchants, but their actual financial position was far weaker. There was one particular merchant who exemplified this contrast perfectly. When he first started trading, he made a moderate profit on a single transaction and immediately used that profit to buy expensive clothes and jewelry. He wanted everyone in the marketplace to know that he was becoming successful. The attention worked exactly as he hoped. People noticed his expensive appearance and assumed he was a prosperous trader. Some customers were attracted to his apparent success and chose to do business with him rather than with competitors who looked less prosperous. For a brief period, this strategy seemed to be working. But the customers who were attracted by his appearance of wealth expected him to offer them the generous terms that a wealthy merchant could afford to provide. They expected lower prices, better credit arrangements, and more accommodating policies. And because he had spent his actual wealth on the appearance of wealth, he could not afford to be as generous as he appeared to be. Eventually, his inability to deliver the level of service that his appearance promised damaged his reputation. Customers who discovered that he was not as prosperous as he appeared felt deceived and took their business elsewhere. Meanwhile, the money he had spent on status symbols was no longer available for inventory, expansion, or responding to the inevitable challenges that every business faces. Within 2 years, his business had failed completely. The expensive clothes he had bought to attract customers became reminders of the opportunities he had wasted. The jewelry he had purchased to prove his success became items he had to sell to cover basic expenses. During the same period, another merchant was building a trading empire by living far below his means and investing every possible coin back into his business. He wore simple clothes, lived in modest quarters, and gave no outward sign of his growing wealth. But he was systematically acquiring better suppliers, securing exclusive agreements, and expanding into new markets. By the time the first merchant was selling his jewelry to pay his debts, the second merchant had become one of the most successful traders in the region. His wealth was real rather than apparent, sustainable rather than temporary, and growing rather than shrinking. And still, he maintained his simple lifestyle, understanding that every coin spent on appearances was a coin stolen from his financial future. This is the power of prosperity that does not shine. It allows your wealth to compound continuously because you are not draining it for display purposes. It protects your wealth from the envy and interference of others because they do not know it exists. It keeps you focused on building more wealth rather than enjoying the temporary pleasure of showing wealth. But perhaps most importantly, living your prosperity quietly develops what I call internal wealth confidence. This is the deep satisfaction that comes from knowing your true financial position regardless of whether others recognize it. When your sense of prosperity comes from your actual bank account rather than from other people's perception of your bank account, that sense of prosperity becomes unshakable. External wealth validation is fragile because it depends on factors beyond your control. Other people's opinions can change instantly based on rumors, misunderstandings, or simple changes in their own circumstances. But internal wealth confidence is stable because it is based on facts that you control directly. The practical application of this rule requires you to separate your spending into two categories: investments that build wealth and expenses that display wealth. Every purchase should be evaluated honestly according to whether it will increase your net worth or simply announce your current financial status. Investments that build wealth include education that increases your earning capacity, tools that improve your productivity, assets that generate income, and experiences that develop valuable relationships or skills. These investments often appear modest or even cheap to outside observers, but they consistently produce returns that justify their cost. Expenses that display wealth include luxury items purchased primarily for their brand value, lifestyle choices designed to impress others, and any spending motivated by the desire to appear successful rather than to become more successful. These expenses often appear impressive to outside observers, but they consistently reduce your net worth without producing compensating returns. This does not mean you must live in poverty or deprive yourself of all enjoyment. It means that your enjoyment should come from the security and freedom that real wealth provides rather than from the temporary excitement of having others notice your possessions. As your wealth grows, you will be able to afford more expensive things, and you should enjoy them if they genuinely add value to your life. But the motivation for these purchases should be personal satisfaction, not public recognition. The most expensive meal should be purchased because you want to experience exceptional food, not because you want others to see that you can afford exceptional food. The ultimate test of whether you have mastered this rule is simple. If all external recognition of your wealth disappeared tomorrow, if no one knew how much money you had or what you owned, would you still feel wealthy? If the answer is yes, then your prosperity is real and sustainable. If the answer is no, then you are still dependent on others for your sense of financial security, and this dependency makes you vulnerable. True wealth is a private experience before it is ever a public reality. The person who has mastered prosperity that does not shine has learned to derive satisfaction from financial security itself, rather than from others' acknowledgement of that security. This satisfaction is deeper, more lasting, and infinitely more valuable than the applause of people who are impressed by expensive displays, but understand nothing about the discipline and wisdom required to create lasting wealth. When you live your prosperity quietly, you join the ranks of those who have discovered the ultimate freedom. The freedom to be wealthy without needing anyone else to know it, to be successful without requiring anyone else to validate it, and to be secure without depending on anyone else to confirm it. Look around you right now. Every person rushing past, every voice demanding attention, every notification screaming for your immediate response. This is the noise that keeps most people poor, distracted, forever chasing shadows while real wealth grows in the spaces between the sounds. You are no longer part of that chaos. You have learned what kings and empires are built upon, not the roar of crowds or the flash of gold, but the steady rhythm of work done without witnesses, decisions made without applause, progress measured not in recognition, but in results that speak for themselves. Picture a mountain. For millions of years, it rises not through dramatic eruptions, but through imperceptible movements, tectonic forces working beneath the surface where no eye can see. Layer by layer, season by season, century by century, it grows into something that commands respect not through noise but through presence. Something that cannot be ignored, not because it demands attention, but because its very existence changes everything around it. This is what you are becoming. Not someone who performs wealth, but someone who embodies it. Not someone who announces success, but someone whose very being radiates the quiet confidence of a person who has mastered the forces that create lasting prosperity. Your silence is no longer empty space waiting to be filled with words. Your silence has become pregnant with possibility, heavy with purpose, electric with the power of focused intention. When you speak now, people listen differently because they sense the depth from which your words emerge. If you feel this transformation beginning, if these ancient principles are awakening something that has always lived within you, then continue walking this path with those who understand that true power requires no announcement. Subscribe not because this journey ends, but because it deepens with every step you take into the profound silence where all real wealth is born. The mountain does not ask permission to rise, neither do you.